close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon. Turn us to thousands, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
And on we go, folks. Welcome back. Let's do a sound check. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sound check. 2, 3. That sounds pretty good. I've gotten a habit now of unplugging and plugging the thing back in. Eventually, it's going to wear out that connection back there or the cables. But welcome back to the program, folks. It is Saturday, January 4th, 2025, the first Saturday in memory where I'm not broadcasting rugby at this hour. So kind of a break for me, but not. Been working my tail off all morning doing research and writing. I will be producing a video on Starlink and Elon Musk that will be arriving on my channel in a couple of hours after I finish this broadcast, do some editing, get it loaded up, do some graphics, effects, things like that, and we'll get it going. Got some stuff on my shirt here. What's going on? There we go. Got rid of it. All right. So, yeah, welcome on a Saturday. It's unusual now because I normally would do a broadcast 7 days a week, but because of all the rugby for the past few months, I have been busy on Saturdays and Sundays even. So, that 100% music, 100% I love cinema. It's not 100% AI. It is from Cartoon, On and On. Yep. Anyway, that song's published a long time ago. Anyway, James Bowie, welcome to you. Gerhard Steenkamp, Tony Nage, Pierre Orban, Allison Johnson, Dylan Kumbrick, George Steinberg from Heckport, Leah Minar, And then there's Meerkat. Smoothie says, what's with the AI music? Has too many words. Yeah, okay, if you say so. Garrett Gillich, Somerset West. Teresa's here. This Erica. I missed Erica. Hey, Erica. I went right past Erica. It's me again. Dan, welcome to Dan. Richard Kuhn. And who else we got there? Shawnee Grows in from Minnesota. Chris Bodenhorse. Music is 100% AI, says Smoothie. All right, if you say so. You can spot that sound, not judging. Don't judge on me. I didn't make it. It's YouTube licensed music. They don't have to license AI. This has been licensed for ages. That song has been there for a very long time on YouTube. I just decided to start using it. So anyway, yeah. I guess that becomes a problem as we go forward. Who can identify what's real and what's not? I am not AI. I am not a cyborg. We are not the machines. Anyway, welcome back. It is Saturday, Chris. That's unusual for me. If you said Naj, you'd speak Hungarian. No, I don't know that. Feels like negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Good Lord, it's cold Minnesota. It's 27 degrees here, windy outside, which is just below freezing, 27 Fahrenheit. So I'm going to guess that's roughly about 3 degrees Celsius below zero. So warmer than the UK, but not by much. Cold spell to hit the UK yesterday was pretty Arctic and freezing for a lot of folks. But welcome back to the program, folks. A number of topics to talk about today. Once again, thanks. Viewership dropped yesterday, but still remained above the 20,000 mark. So that's like 6 consecutive days of 20,000 more views. Help us get to a full week of 20,000 or more views by going and watching my videos today. If it's a video you haven't seen before, play it, please, after this broadcast. You don't even have to watch the whole thing. Just watch a little bit of it so we get the views up and see if we can't run a week of 20,000 views. We have not had a week of 20,000 or more views consecutively on this channel since, man, even when we had great spurts of success on my trips to South Africa and during the World Cup, we didn't have 7 consecutive days of 20,000 views or more. So I ask you kindly, please go check out stuff a little bit later on. The Indian man who doxed Amy is actually living it up in New Zealand. He got away with it. New Zealand didn't even flag his crimes in South Africa. I didn't realize the guy was Indian. Well, you know what? Turnabout's fair play. If anybody knows who he is or where he's at, please feel free to share the information, and we'll make him famous. We will make him famous. Yep. Nearly drove the woman to suicide. Unbelievable, the behavior. Thank you, Smoothie, for sharing that. Would like to have more information. You can catch me by email. Panic buying, it started in America. Panic buying for what, Christo? Toilet paper? N95 mask? What is the panic buying over? Gold? Silver? I mean, I'm not buying silver bullion out of fear. No. That was a gift. That was a gift from someone. Yeah. So there's no panic buying on my part. No. I might need to go get some petrol, though, but that won't be panic buying just because I need to fill up the tank. Yes. All right. So you just spoke Hungarian, says Tony. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Can I add it to my list of languages as a polyglot? I don't think so. Anyway, yesterday, Mr. B left because Mr. B got tired of waiting. But Mr. B never told me what Mr. B was tired of waiting for. Was it the news or was it a particular topic? Mr. B just disappeared like that yesterday. I don't know what's going on. So Neville's here. How's your mom tonight, Neville? I hope she's well. And Tony's getting a good laugh at it. Apparently, I pronounced my Hungarian very poorly. Look, folks, I've told you famously, I've been to Hungary. I've been to Budapest and throughout the country. Never been to Lake Balaton, but I have been to Hungary, and I can tell you that it was fascinating. The only problem is that I didn't understand a damn word. Everything's it's in a foreign language from the Finno-Ugric language family from the Ural Mountains east of there. These are Central Asian peoples, not Europeans that settled that place, and I don't understand what they're saying. None of the words make any sense. She's doing very well. Good. I tricked the wellness guru into believing in... Okay, I have no idea what that means, but thank you for sharing that, Smoothie. Right. Anyway, let's get to it, folks. Lots of news to cover, and as I said, I will be doing a video after this. But yeah, before I get to it, let me just highlight once again, 65 people currently. Thanks, and just how many doing on likes? 33 likes. Half of you have fallen asleep at the wheel. We have seen a steady, slow growth in subscriber base this week with the surge in views, which is really encouraging. It's frustrating to sit here and do this for month after month and lose subscribers or gain 30 or 50 subscribers. We have a channel my size. You'd think it would continue to grow with the quality content that comes out here on almost a daily basis. Well, we are doing okay. The Uns Fatikaki video is now over 30,000 views. The original no-fly list for Knobs and Keezy after Racist Rants video is at almost 49,000 views. That's making it one of the top videos I've ever produced on this channel. Not on the other channel, but on this channel. Yeah, and across the board, all those views are doing well. Even the Snakes in the Plane, that one's kind of died off at 19,000 plus. And then, so since I published that video, well, actually before that, I started getting traction with Ramaphosa's lip service. I got 6,300 and 6,500. So around December 20th, my videos started doing better. So every video since then has produced at least 1,000 views, which has been a problem, with the exception of the press conference on New Orleans, when no South Africans seem to care about that one. It's interesting because I look at these videos and very encouraging seeing the number of new subscribers, but also when you look at the data, I pulled up. So for instance, the video on the South African Human Rights Commission getting involved in the case, which has got me 7,400 views, 329 hours of content watched, 13 plus viewers. If I look at the audience for that, this is the encouraging part. Come on, YouTube, be nice. Of those who've watched the video, 72.7% are not subscribers. That means I got a 7 out of 10 chance to gain a subscriber. Now, you don't gain all the subscribers, but you do gain some. And in this video, I've gained 13 subscribers, so that's helpful. And let me look at the previous one. The GNU pandering to whites, that's the EFF statement. I didn't think that would do very well, but that video is over 5,000 views now, and it's died off. But let me take a look. I've gained 19 subscribers from that, and 61% were not subscribed. So that's more of my traditional audience. 38% of my audience tuned in for that one. But in the past, it was 70 to 85% that were already my audience. So I could never gain any freaking new subscribers. It's very frustrating. So the Uns Fatikaki, let's look at 237 subscribers from that, 30,000 views. That's not bad. It's close to 1%. And then 2,100 hours of view content. And I made $19 in advertising revenue. Wow, that's a nice thing. I wasn't even striving for that. But 87.6% of the people who watched that video were not subscribers to my channel. What does that mean? That means that YouTube's actually letting people see my video. I'm aghast at what's going on here. I must have caught on to a wave of something that's of interest. That's why I keep making these videos. The boxing gentleman and his Twitter followers are gloating about his new home. I don't have him beyond. Okay, well, send me the Twitter account and we'll check into that. Okay, 87.6. Yep. One of those rare pure-blood Hungarians that speak fluently but never been there. Yeah, that would be rare. Very few Hungarians that have been hungry speak Hungarian. And let me look at the big one here. The one that's over 48,000. It's now at 48,700 views, 150 subscribers, so less than the Uns Fakti Kaki video. But let me look at the audience on that very quickly. That's 93.3% of people that never watch my channel. They're not subscribed. So that's pretty cool. That's what's driving the subscriber base a little bit, which is nice. And I think we'd like to see our community grow. Come on, YouTube. Faster. Okay, so over the past week, we've gone from 20,161 to 20,811. So just short of 700 subscribers. So nothing outstanding. But you go back an entire month before that, and I actually had gone from December, come on. Oh, YouTube, somebody's watching my channel. There's spyware here. December 7th until December 29th, I had gained 1 subscriber in 28 days. In 4 weeks, 1 subscriber. See, that just shows you how YouTube can promote your stuff and people find it and you grow. So you just got to catch on. Live stream the funeral. Which funeral do you want me to live stream? Jimmy Carter's funeral? Smoothie? Okay, what else you got here? YouTube could be doing to creators what Honey did to creators. I'm just guessing. No, Smoothie, I know that's the case. YouTube has been doing that to me for years. YouTube steals my money. I get a broadcast. So let me give you an example here, okay? So rough numbers. When I did the unannounced, spontaneous, spur of the moment decision to raise money for Leah because she was robbed at gunpoint, and my audience responded, the super chats that came in on that super chat were $701, right? That's in dollars and pounds and euros and mostly in rand. The $701 before my 2,000, because I didn't put it in YouTube. That's stupid. They take 30%, and I pay taxes on my own income money I gave. So $701. That $701, I made money off of advertising that day, and I made money off of other videos where people made super thanks. That day, I only earned $401. $401. YouTube is supposed to take 30% of your super chat revenue, not more. So let's just do the math here and see how much they stole from me. So it's 701 divided by 400. Oh, that's not right. 400, excuse me, divided by 7 divided by 701. I got it backwards. Yeah, that's 43% of my income disappeared. They're supposed to take 30%. That's 13% more. Now, I know how they do it. They use bogus exchange rates, like make it like, it takes 30 Rand to the dollar, and so I get screwed. They take 30 Rand for every dollar instead of like 18. So I've been getting screwed by YouTube for years because I have a global audience, and I'm sure they do the same thing on the advertising too. I'm sure they will. Yeah, there are no extra costs. That's illegal. That's a violation of the terms and conditions, and it's a racketeering operation if they're doing that, Smoothie. They have to be upfront and tell you they only take 30%. So it doesn't matter what their costs are. They only take 30%. So anyway, but they lie. YouTube AI channels are making them even more rich. Yeah, because there's nobody behind it. They just create these things and people watch it. Jimmy Carter campaign with Jim Jones. Okay. Richard Kuhn says, I feel I might get thrown in the pool, otherwise lost our dearest auntie. What? No idea what's going on there. No idea what's going on there. But anyway, we're over 20,800. Hopefully we're in not risk, but we're in the process of maybe surpassing the original channel, which has been, flagging because YouTube hides that channel. So it's at 21,600 or thereabouts. So we're 800 away from that channel, surpassing that. Yep. So there you go. All right. So the news, folks, since I've talked about all that stuff, how are we doing now? We got 84 people currently here. Let's get into the news, which a lot of people are tuning in for. Just 57 likes. Let's fix that. The Justice Minister in South Africa's identity has been compromised. Her official Facebook account was broken into, and scamsters are reportedly using it to defraud South Africans. A warning coming out from the government of South Africa to be careful on anything coming from the minister. Well, frankly, folks, you should be careful on anything coming from anybody from the ANC, just as a general practice. I'm just saying. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Development warned the public about a Facebook scam involving the impersonation of Justice Minister Mamamoloko Kubai. Yeah, they said an individual or group had allegedly gained access to the minister's official account, using it to deceive and solicit illegal opportunities from unsuspecting rubes. The ministry condemns this illegal activity and warns the public to be cautious and not fall victim to the scam. Please note that Minister Kubaya has not sent messages about project opportunities to anyone. Yes, well, it's a criminal offense to do that, folks, and stop it. Cease and desist. Well, rumors that Floyd Shivambu is being removed apparently are not true. Yes, Manyi slams rumors of Shivambu's rumor as MK Secretary General. The erstwhile EFF grifter himself, MK Party MP Manyi, has come out in support of its Secretary General Floyd Shivambu, reaffirming his position in the party amid rumors of his impending removal. Given that people are removed from the party on a daily basis, it wouldn't be shocking. Shivambu is solid as a rock in the MK Party. Take it from me, I'm fresh from Nkandla. Going to kiss the ring. Yep. There he is. Is Deza News feeding malicious propaganda? Floyd Shivambu is solid as a rock in the MK Party. Take it from me, I'm fresh from Nkandla. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. All right, so there you have it. He's not going anywhere. We'll see. A Johannesburg man has been arrested for allegedly funding terrorism with cryptocurrency. Told you, South Africa. Told you. Anyway. Just kind of a small fry here, though. The arrest followed a lengthy investigation, according to Hawk spokesman Colonel Pilani Nakwaleasa. Yeah. Cryptocurrency in the form of Bitcoin worth 11,500 Rand, so virtually nothing, was allegedly purchased through Luno, a virtual asset service provider, via transfer of money from the suspect's bank account to Luno's custody account in November of 2017. On the same day, Bitcoin was reportedly transferred from his wallet to the wallet associated with an organization that describes itself as an independent charity. But the independent charity has been identified as a terror group. The man is expected to appear in the Lichtenburg Magistrates Court on Monday. Police obtained a search warrant back in October, conducted a search of the residence, and several evidential materials have been seized for further investigation. So there you go. When Cyril Ramaphosa claims lies to the public and says South Africa is not a logistical hub for the T groups, well, there's your proof that it's true. That's just one minor fish, but there are plenty of others in the sea. Well, folks, bad weather in South Africa. Motorists have been warned flash floods and hazardous driving conditions expected after the holiday season. Look at that. That's a nasty-looking picture of the mountain washing away somewhere, presumably in the Western Cape. Actually looks like the road coming back from Betty's Bay, headed back to Gordon's Bay. Anyway, so Motorists returning from festive season and residents across the central and eastern region of South Africa are being warned that heavy rainfall is expected Sunday to Wednesday. Ooh, here you go. There's the probability of rain according to South African Meteorological Service. Look at that. Not much, nothing in the Karoo and Northern Cape, but plenty of rain in Gauteng, which has been getting buffeted by bad weather the past week. Look at 80% chance of rain in Gauteng and Northwest. Parts of KZN too. It's a lot of rain, big band of rain coming in there. So Africa's barometer study reveals dissatisfaction with public services is eroding interest and confidence in the democracy. A recent Afrobarometer study reveals that across 39 African countries, feelings of disrespect while accessing public services correlate with decreased support for democracy. The services measured were police, medical, education, and getting identity documents. South Africa's data show that more citizens than the continental average felt disrespected, apart from those who interacted with the police. Do you find that surprising? I don't. In South Africa, 46% of the people who interacted with the identity documents authorities, Department of Home Affairs, felt disrespected, compared to the continental average, just 39%. So nearly 1 out of 2 people who go to Home Affairs is treated like crap. Does that surprise you? It shouldn't. 49% of the people interacted with medical staff felt disrespected, compared to just 36% around the continent. So 1 out of every 2 people who went to government services in South Africa felt they were disrespected. Ouch. 31% of the people who interacted with police felt disrespected, and that's actually better than the continental average of 34%. I think that's low. Most people don't even bother to go to the police because they know they're going to be ignored or disrespected, particularly if they're a minority. 30% of the people who interacted with school staff felt disrespect, compared to the continental average of 26%. So people are less happy in South Africa than they are across Africa. But the EFF wants to make South Africa like the rest of Africa. Friends here once and was shocked at how many trees they have. The city was so green. I assumed no, Smoothie. Johannesburg is the world's largest man-made forest. Yep. The city of Johannesburg is the largest man-made forest on the planet. Yep. Trees everywhere. Everywhere. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Johannesburg is not industrial at all. Not even remotely. Ontario is going to make it illegal to warm your car up. Yeah, Tony, that's what the Germans did many, many years ago. They'll report you to the police if you go outside and turn your car on. Of course, in Canada, that's deadly. You have to warm your car up to get the engine going, to not freeze up the cylinders, to not damage the vehicle, to get everything loose and ready, and drive safely. Yeah, no, this is these green lunatics are fools. There will be fatalities as a consequence of this. Pedestrians will be hit from windows that are fogged up and the ice is not properly cleaned off of them. There will be cars where the brakes fail because the engine hasn't heated up and the lines haven't heated up. Yeah, this is beyond stupid. The Canadians have taken stupidity to a new level. They absolutely have. Yep. Good experience with Home Affairs, says Paul Dufton. I had a terrible experience with Home Affairs. Yep, sure did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Hendo, are you here, Hendo? Hendo, sad news, my friend. Sad news. I've sent you the story. Disappointment. After 16 years of being the physio for the Springboks, the national side of South Africa, Renee Naylor, everybody's favorite married lady in South Africa, is departing Springboks. They have not renewed her contract. Why? Why? We want to know why. Bok physio Renee Naylor, her contract ends. It marks a cherished chapter she'll remember forever. 16 years with the South African side. For years, she's been a constant presence on the sidelines, sorting out aches and pains, preparing ice baths and pummeling strained muscles. She's also been there for the guys when they felt homesick and missed their loved ones. Renee Naylor has been right in the Bucs side for nearly 180 test matches, and she played a vital role in their last 2 World Cups. But her time as the team's physiotherapist has come to an end. After 16 years, it's hard for her to imagine life without the men in green and gold. Yep, it's been very emotional. I dropped off my 11-year-old son, Nicklin, at school this morning, and it was sad because we said goodbye to his teacher and a friend. Then he said to me, Mom, please wait until you're home to cry because you've been crying a lot in public lately. Wow. I don't think anyone will ever have enough of the Springboks, even if you're utterly depleted. Being with the team is where I feel like myself, but I also believe I have an expiry date like players and coaches. Despite the initial sting of the news, Renee, 52 years of age, accepted the decision of Springbok management. Coach Rossi Erasmus knows what's best for the team, she says. It's like when Peter Steph Dutoy was recently named World Rugby Player of the Year. We put the team first, and that's true. We have to put your ego aside. Wow. So she grew up in Belhar in Cape Town, started working as a physiotherapist back in 1994. In 2001, she joined Western Province. You like a ding. Working with the under-19s, under-20s, under-21 squads. She later progressed to the Stormers and Western Province Currie Cup teams. Her journey with the Springboks began in 2008 after she was appointed by then-coach Peter de Villiers. She continued to work with the team when Henneke Meyer took over in 2011 and stayed until 2015. Then a 2-year break until Rossi called her back to service. And she has been a fixture on the sidelines for the Springboks over the years. Wow. Her son hasn't even been alive as long as she's been with the Springboks. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. There she is with Tendam Tawira, the beast, helping him stretch his leg out. She plans to carry on the lessons she's learned in her next chapter, focusing on building a physiotherapy practice in Cape Town. Paying the bills is top of her mind. I still have school fees to pay and a son who loves downloading apps. Every now and then I receive notifications about subscription fees. Well, turn his damn phone off there, lady. She wants to give motivational talk, exploring the possibility of establishing Cape Town as a hub where international athletes come for rehabilitation. These are good goals, and I wish Renee Naylor the very best. Anybody want to invest in her business? I'll put a few ducks in. All right, so a lot of folks going to miss Renee Naylor. All right, Elton Yankees also used her when he was homesick, didn't he? No, Charles, he did not. Don't even start that nonsense. That was someone else. Home affairs gives me the anxieties. They make you queue in the wrong line for hours. Well, I was fortunate I was able to avoid that, but still had a bad experience with him. The only thing going for Joburg and Pretoria are the trees, says Erica. I don't know if that's true. We had no electricity for the last 4 hours. The only plus we got. Whoa, I'm sorry, Charles. There's no load shedding in South Africa. Stop spreading your fake news. It's load reduction. It's not load shedding. When the South African government and Eskom claim that there's no load shedding for 8 months now, and then they announced the load reduction, it reminds me of the following, folks. I mean, this is just takes the cake. This is what happens when you're a victim of load shedding, but the government tells you you're not. Okay, this is I mean, honestly, come on, seriously. This is exactly this is it right here. You ready for this? Okay, here we go.
A fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
It's not load shedding. No, it's fucking load shedding. No, Liesel, it's not load shedding. No, it's fucking load shedding. Sorry. Hendra says, Heidi got fired. She can always be. That's the story of Victor Secret. Yeah. At the last test match, it was mentioned and announced she was ending for the Bucks. Yeah, I know, scientist, but this is the first news story covering it. I mentioned that at the last the Bucks test match that she was leaving. I was shocked. My mom's birthday today. Mom just doesn't understand it. Richard, well, I know your mom doesn't understand it, but hey, let's go ahead and get this up just the same. Happy birthday to Richard's mom. Sorry about the Alzheimer's. That's horrific. Alzheimer's, dementia, all these things that affect the mind. Really, really unfortunate. I always worry about the mad cow, Creutzfeldt Jakob. I mean, after all, I was stationed in Europe when they were feeding us that Jakob prion-infused beef coming from the UK. Blah. So I keep waiting for the mad cow to kick in. Yep. Did we consume prions? No idea. Happy birthday to Richard's mom. I hope that things get better. There's a lot of research going into Alzheimer's and dementia. A lot of research. Sedgefield's back. Good to see you there. South Korea is crumbling, and the Chaebol is responsible. All leaders bought literally. Yeah, South Korea is in a lot of trouble. I don't know if the Chaebol are responsible, but certainly I think the politicians are the ones bear the responsibility. Load shedding suspended until March, as per Eskom interview yesterday. Yeah, okay, Neville. And I have one thing to say about that. If Eskom is telling me that load shedding is suspended till March, this is my response.
A fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
It's load shedding. And it's been holding back the country. No, it's not. It's holding back. Charles, it's beyond holding back. It's been actively undermining and destroying the country for 30 years. Anyway, Renee Naylor is gone. Hey, I was not accused, but asked about why I never talk about positive news stories. Well, that's a positive news story. Renee Naylor has been a fantastic physiotherapist for the Springboks. Here's another one. And this is interesting because these are people promoting the Karoo. If you've ever been to the Karoo, it's way out there, folks. Yeah, they're promoting the Karoo. So let's talk about that. Here's a nice story from the Daily Maverick, a positive story about something in South Africa, the Karoo. Karoo tapestry, the lure of stillness, nostalgia for long-gone locomotives, and the look of yesterday. By Chris Murray and Julianne Dutoy. Riet Bron, Kiplat, Jansenville, Pierston, and Willowmore each have more unique Eastern Cape Karoo backstory to tell. Each have a unique one. Welcome to one of the quietest villages in the Karoo, Riet Bron. If you're an adrenaline junkie, a wild adventurous, someone who can't sit still for a second, or a person who needs a thrill a minute to survive, then you should just pass right by. It's quite easy to bypass it. It lies somewhere on a 150-kilometer detour between Beaufort West and Willowmore, crossing the Amos River and the Musi-Kra River, which eventually feed the Soot River. Anyway, so yeah, they had a royal visit in Kiplat back in 1947 before she became Queen Elizabeth II. Look at that disused locomotive sitting there. The Jansenville Gnome, look at that beautiful church there. The beautifully kept Jansenville Mother Church. That is gorgeous. Michelle Obama wore a designer cardigan from mohair from a Karoo farm in that district. With more than 668,000 Angora goats, South Africa produces an annual clip of nearly 2.3 million kgs, half the world's mohair. Wow. The vast majority of that mohair comes from the Eastern Cape Karoo, and Jansenville is the country capital of mohair. Well, there's a positive story we can talk about there. There's Pearson's Church, Dutch Reformed. Yeah, and Willowmore's a look of yesteryear. Donkeys on carts in the street. So you can find out about this. They sell books. They've got 4 books, Karoo Roads 3, Karoo Roads 4. And yeah, they sell these books for 350 Rand a piece in their series. Anyway, that's some positive news about South Africa. 13 inmates are on the run after a drunken constable let them go on New Year's. He opened the cells. 13 suspected criminals are on the loose in Zambia after a tipsy detective unlocked jail cells on New Year's Eve and told them they were free to go. In a state of intoxication, he forcibly seized cell keys from a colleague and unlocked both male and female cells and instructed the suspects to leave, stating they were free to cross over to the New Year. All but 2 of the 15 suspects in jail at the time escaped when the cells were open. What happened to the other 2? Are they still asleep? They are fugitives, and they're looking for them. Happy New Year! You're free to go. CyberX says, must be lucky in our area. We've hardly had load shedding since the elections. Water pipes always bursting. Yeah, okay. That's true. Thanks, my eyes are watering. I feel the love, says Richard. Okay, well, that's Rich. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Richard, no, it's fantastic. Neville says, mom has severe Parkinson's and always says she wished she had Alzheimer's. Rather forget to pay for her drink than spill it. Mom always makes me smile. Oh, Neville, that's sweet. Val Cooper's here. Welcome, Val. Dropping the bucket. And Chris Murray has made it in as well. Smoothie said, I don't think Trump is joking about Panama. Well, he may not be joking about Panama, but how is he practically going to do it? I think that we'll get a treaty, as I said on the radio the other night. We'll get a treaty that gets rid of the Chinese and gives Americans preferential access and maybe a basing of troops there as well. So I think that's what's in the future in the next 4 years. But we're not going to take over the Panama Canal. Savage daughter has a friend who just moved to Wilmore. Interesting. M23 rebels in the eastern Congo have seized a key town. My goodness. Rwanda-backed M23 rebels moved closer Friday to a key town in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, capturing a nearby area. The Movement 23, a militia group supported by Rwanda and its army, has seized vast swaths of Eastern Congo territory since 2021. Oh, my goodness. So they are busy. Gunmen from Nigeria kill 5 Cameroonian soldiers, according to a member of parliament. Gunmen from Nigeria have killed at least 5 Cameroonian soldiers and wounded several others in the village of Bakanya on Cameroon's border with Nigeria, according to a member of parliament for the district and a traditional leader. They said today. In the latest in a series of attempts to seize territory, A.K. Martin Toyoga, Aka Martin Toyoga, member of parliament for the district of Akawa in southwestern Cameroon, where the incident took place, told Reuters the attack happened early on Friday when hundreds of armed Fulani herdsmen crossed the border from Tobara State in Nigeria to attack a military post. They said it was in retaliation after Cameroonian soldiers killed several herdsmen the day before. Things are heating up in Nigeria as usual. Welcome to 2025. Yeah. Okay. So, Ghana has announced visa-free entry for Africa. They're going to regret this. You watch, they're going to regret this. Ghana will soon be flooded by economic migrants from all over the continent who are coming to Ghana to seek a brighter day. Ghana's public services will be strained, its housing will be collapsing, and the society will be choked with non-Ghanaians who flood into there from Liberia, from Burkina Faso, from Togo. Ghana will be a recipient of hundreds of thousands of economic migrants that are unwanted, unneeded, and will cause all kinds of problems for Ghana. Well, you dumbasses, this is what you asked for. Drop in the bucket, welcome to you. Biden's pen gets taken away on January 20th. The announcement came during the final State of the Nation address from outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo. I'm proud to have approved visa-free travel to Ghana for all African passport holders with effect from the beginning of this year. It's the next logical step into the African Continental Free Trade area and working as the largest trading bloc in the world. I'm sorry. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement was something that was supposed to be in effect before I left the Army over 5 years ago and wasn't. It's in effect now, but on paper only, virtually no implementation or no standards or benefits derived from it whatsoever by the states that are signatories to it. It is not the world's largest trading bloc. That's a lie. It's the largest geographical trading bloc. Fact. Largest trading bloc? No, lie. Largest trading bloc is U.S.-Mexico trade agreement between U.S., Canada, and Mexico, which is the largest by a wide measure trading bloc on the planet, even bigger than the European Union. So nonsense, 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 nonsense. Anyway. Oh, my goodness. So they're going to regret that. Ghana will be flooded with people that they don't want. Well, they've approved a provisional budget in Ghana, and I see that the disease that affects our incompetent Congress is spread to the world. The inability to pass a budget on time, leading to continuing resolutions, which is what Ghana has just passed. John Dramani Mahama is set to take office as the president after the election, but a provisional budget approval averts a government shutdown. Ghana's parliament has passed a provisional budget that allows the government to spend 68 billion cedis through March. Speaker Alban Bagbin said the parliament had approved the provisional budget in a sitting that stretched deep into Thursday night, thus avoiding a shutdown as the new president comes on board, at least temporarily. Syria's government is sending shockwaves and concern throughout the world after its bizarre conduct in censoring education. A list of amendments to textbooks raises questions about assurances that the country's new rules will foster an inclusive society. They won't. Newsflash. A planned overhaul of Syria's education curriculum is spurring concerns. The changes listed in a series of documents released this week by the Education Ministry include everything from dropping all references to former dictator Bashar al-Assad to changing religious references and removing the theory of evolution from school textbooks. The changes would apply to all students between the ages 6 and 18. Wow. It's not looking good. That's the first troubling sign. Well, the corrupt military regime that overthrew the democratically elected government of Myanmar, thoroughly corrupt but democratically elected, and imprisoned the former president and Nobel Prize laureate, has released thousands of political prisoners to mark Independence Day. Released prisoners, front, center, and right, are welcomed by family members. So look at those people who have been released by the government. Does that woman look like a threat to the government in the center there? That old lady, does she look like a tea person or a gorilla? I don't think so. Myanmar's incompetent, corrupt military government has released more than 6,000 prisoners and reduced other inmates' sentences as part of a mass amnesty to mark the 77th anniversary of independence. They included just a small portion of hundreds of political detainees jailed for opposing army rule. Yep. So the president remains in prison. In a separate report, it said that Min Aung Hlaing had commuted life sentences of 144 prisoners to 15 years. Wow. There's no sign that the prison release would include Aung San Suu Kyi. The 79-year-old is serving a 27-year sentence after being convicted in a series of politically tinged prosecutions brought by the military, which illegitimately overthrew her. Sentences are illegitimate. The oldest woman in the world has passed away at the age of 116, folks. Wow, there's something to go for. Okay, Gary Green. Yep. Tomiko Ituka, a Japanese woman who is the world's oldest person, according to the Guinness World Records, has died. An official in charge of elderly policy said Ituka died on December 29th in a care home in the Hyogo prefecture in central Japan. She loved bananas and a yogurt-flavored Japanese drink called kalpis. She was born on May 23rd, 1908, became the oldest person last year following the death of 117-year-old Maria Barajas. When she was told that she was at the top of the world's super centenarian rankings list, she simply replied, "Thank you." Wow. Born in Osaka, she had long had a reputation for a sprightly spirit. She climbed the 3,067-meter Mount Ontaka twice. She got married at the age of 20, had 2 daughters and 2 sons, according to Guinness. She managed the office of her husband's textile factory during World War II. She lived alone in Nara after her husband died in 1979. She is survived by 1 son and 1 daughter and 5 grandchildren. Wow. According to the Gerontology Research Group, the world's oldest person is now 116-year-old Brazilian nun Ina Canabaro Lucas, who was born 16 days after Ituca. Wow, 116. Man, she looked pretty good for that age. Photos show the damaging that affected that Azerbaijani flight shot down by Russian air defense in an anti-drone operation. Photos provided by the Azerbaijani media outlet Anuzi show that Azerbaijan Airlines plane crashed near Atuku in Kazakhstan had signs of damage consistent with an attack from outside the aircraft. Here are images from the aircraft. You can see a bullet hole there. There you see multiple from punctures. They're not bullet holes probably, but debris that blew into the aircraft interior. Here's one of the wings. Look at that. Damage to the wing. That's clearly an explosion in midair that caused that. Inside, you can see the holes in the fuselage. More holes. That's outside the wing. Lots of damage. Lots of bullet holes there. It's amazing this plane can fly at all as long as it did. It's incredible effort by the pilots to try to save these people. But it went poorly. Flak damage because Brandon said so. Okay, Roger Rabbit, welcome to you. Ramen is the fountain of youth. Ramen? Okay. Must have had an emotional moment. My Jack Russell jogs jumped. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, 116 is very impressive, Charles. Well, the next battleground in the struggle between Christianity and Islam will be in Kosovo. What say you? Well, I say because of this report in the New York Times about the reversion reverting to Christianity by Kosovo Muslims. Of course, the region was once pagan, and then during the Roman Empire became Christianized, and virtually every inhabitant of Kosovo was Catholic until the Ottoman Turks invaded and either murdered or at the threat of murder forced the conversion of everyone in Kosovo, virtually everyone, to Islam in the 1400s. 500-600 years later, now Muslims are abandoning their faith to become Christians. Oh, that's going to piss off the jihadists. So watch them come here once they learn about this. Christian converts in Kosovo, where the vast majority of people are Muslim, hope to revive pre-Islamic past they see as a key to the European identity. Catholic priest stood at the altar of Hilltop Church in a mass baptism, dunking dozens of heads in water and tracing a cross with his finger on each forehead. Then he rejoiced at Christianity's recovery of souls in a land where the vast majority of people are now Muslim. Ceremony is one of many recent months in Kosovo, a formerly Serbian territory inhabited largely by ethnic Muslims. It declared itself independent back in 2008. In the last census, 93% of the population professed itself as Muslim, just 1.75% as Roman Catholic. Under the Ottoman Empire, they conquered what is today Kosovo in the 14th century, so the 1300s, bringing with it Islam. Ethnic Albanians were primarily Catholics. Under Ottoman rule until 1912, they switched to Islam. And now they're becoming Christians again, reversing the process. But, leftist historians are saying it's stupid, it's inappropriate, it's wrong. Why? Let them be what they want to be. Let them be what they want to be. Interesting here to see a pub of ethnic Albanians who are supporting a push to convert Muslims to Christianity, and you see the Albanian flag and the American flag in a restaurant in Kosovo. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, British minister says Elon Musk doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, the British minister is a lying propagandist, and Elon Musk does know what he's talking about when he refers to the grooming of young English girls, something covered up by British government officials and the police for years as young prepubescent and pubescent English white girls were groomed, raped, impregnated, pimped, and enslaved by South Asian men. And cowards in the United Kingdom, afraid of being called racist, ignored the situation, allowing thousands of English girls to be destroyed sexually, mentally, and physically. This is horrific. And this member of parliament needs his mouth washed out with soap. This stupid leftist nonsense. Now Musk is tweeting about UK, and I encourage him to continue it, which will be interesting if you watch my video later on, because I will be somewhat critical of Elon Musk when it comes to Starlink in South Africa. British Health Secretary Wes Dumbass Streeting says Musk views are misjudged and certainly misinformed. No, they're not. You're a lying sack of crap cover-up artist is what you are. Stop covering up the sexual abuse of English girls. A senior British moron, a politician, has rejected Elon Musk's criticism of the government's handling of historic child grooming scandals, which are continuing to this day. U.S. technology billionaire Thursday accused Prime Minister Keir Starmer of failing to bring rape gangs to justice when he was director of public prosecutions more than a decade ago. Fact. In a flurry of posts on X, the social media platform he owns, Musk suggests the safeguarding minister, Jess Phillips, deserves to be in prison for refusing a request for a national public inquiry into the Oldham scandal. On Friday, British Health Secretary dumbass Wes Streeting said Musk's views were misjudged and certainly misformed. He urged Musk, a close confidant of President Trump, to work with the government attacking the issue of child sexual exploitation. So if he wants to work with us and roll up his sleeves, we'd welcome that. The widespread abuse of girls, which emerged more than a decade ago in English towns, including Rochdale, Rotherham, near Sheffield, and Oldham, has long stirred controversy. Because it's true and you ignored it. Lives destroyed, girls impregnated, rapes. It's unbelievable. Sexual imprisonment. Breeding of English girls. The disdain by these Muslim scum for these English. That doesn't mean Muslims are scum for the leftists who want to misinterpret that. I'm talking, they are Muslim and scum. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we often hear nonsense about how America is not doing well. Yes, Europeans are so better, so much more advanced. Would it surprise you to discover that the lowest per capita income state in the United States exceeds virtually every national average in the European Union? Virtually every one. Virtually every one. Mississippi comes in higher than every European Union state except Germany. Sweden's higher, but that's not an EU country. Can you imagine that? Wow. Check it out, folks. The poorest U.S. states, and this is reported by the Europeans, not by Americans, the poorest U.S. state rivals Germany in GDP per capita in the U.S. and Europe. Mississippi, the poorest state in the United States, is close to surpassing Europe's largest economy, Germany, in terms of GDP per capita. Wow. Mississippi is closely behind Germany with a difference of just 1,500 euros. So taking a look at this, these are the per capita of the top 5 and bottom 5 states versus selected European countries. Now, the District of Columbia is an artificiality, so ignore the top one. That's ridiculous. But if you look at this, the top 4 states in America, New York, Massachusetts, Washington, California, all make more money than virtually every one of the European countries. That's in actual GDP. So for 2024, GDP per capita ranged from 15,000 in Bulgaria to 125,000 in Luxembourg. The EU average stood at 40,000, while the U.S. average was 80,000. So the U.S. per capita income is double that of Europe. Double that of Europe. Okay? All right, now we get down to the actual GDP per capita in purchasing power parity, okay? PPP. Purchasing power parities are indicators of price level differences. So this is where your money will take you, okay? So this is how far your money will take you. And we're going to look at this countries and look at Europe, so great and exalted, so wonderful on this measure. Luxembourg, 151,000, things are good there. Ireland, 127,000, things are good there. But it's all going downhill as the country is invaded by people who are not Irish. United States, $86,661 in GDP in purchasing power parity. Wow. Versus the 80,000, the actual figure. Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, Malta, Sweden, Germany, France, Finland, EU average, UK, Italy, Cyprus, Czech, Slovenia, Spain, Lithuania, Poland, Portugal, Croatia, Estonia, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Latvia, Greece, Bulgaria, all fall behind the United States. Just 2 European countries. Oh, wow. Europe is so good and wonderful. Oh, we've got it all figured out. Oh, but it's all free. It's all social. Yeah, right. It's all debt-based. Well, bring it on. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. That's what I'm saying. Bring it on. Smoothie says GDP per capita is an average and doesn't mean that GDP is equally distributed. And Roger Rabbit says, insightful of you. No, it's not insightful. It's a statement of fact. But it's not germane. We're not talking about wealth distribution. You want to talk about wealth distribution, then we need to discuss the Gini coefficient, which is jack shit. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. If I make $50,000 and can survive, and Elon Musk makes $13 billion, that skews the Gini coefficient. And it doesn't matter. It's a silly argument. I've heard this forever. The Gini coefficient, making people unequal. So what if people are unequal? It isn't a question whether people are unequal. It's a question whether people make a living wage. People can survive. People can meet their basic needs and reach that level of Maslow's hierarchy. That's what matters. That's what matters. Not wealth disparity. I don't have the hundreds of billions of dollars of wealth that Elon Musk has. I covet it. I'll be honest about that. I would love to have a little fraction of that. But that doesn't mean I can't survive. That doesn't mean I can't have a good life, or any other American. Wealth disparity is something that leftists use to claim racism and inequality and unfairness without explicitly stating the reasons why such things exist. Culture plays a big role in it. Culture plays a big role. Anyway, we could talk about that for hours, so we're not going to do it. Honduras is threatening the United States, and I say bring it on. Honduras' President Castro, imagine that, a name like Castro, is threatening the United States to kick us out of a base there. Go ahead, do it, sweetheart. I think you will find that life will be very difficult for your arrogance. In pushing back against President-elect Trump plans, President Xiomara Castro threatened that a base hosting U.S. troops would lose all reason to exist in Honduras. Well, quite frankly, President Castro, I think your arrogant behavior indicates that there's no reason for Honduras to exist. Why don't we just invade it? Trump's getting busy with Panama and Canada. Let's take over Honduras. Honduras president threatened to push the U.S. military out of the base it built decades ago in the Central African country should Trump carry out mass deportations of undocumented immigrants from the United States. Faced with a hostile attitude of mass expulsion of our brothers, we would have to consider a change in our policy of cooperation in the United States, especially in the military, says Ms. Castro. Excuse me, mass expulsion of your brothers? What the frick are they doing here? So you want to sanction our country because your criminals have invaded our country and we don't want to tolerate it anymore. You could get stuffed, wench. Oh, screw you. Foot sec, lady. Seriously? Foot sec. Unbelievable. You are going to sanction us because your criminals invaded our country and we're going to send them home to you. Do these leftists not see how stupid they look? Bring it on, sweetheart. We will crush you like an ant. Honduras will be destroyed like a piss ant in a heartbeat. Without paying a cent for decades, they maintain military bases on our territory, which in this case will lose all reason to exist in Honduras. Honduras' foreign minister, Enrique Reina, in a radio video said Honduras' leader had the power to suspend, without the approval of the country's Congress, a decades-old agreement with the United States that allowed it to build the Soto Cano Air Base and operate America's largest military task force in Central America. The move would present grave risk for the small country, which depends on the United States as its largest trading partner and a source of humanitarian aid. We just shut off all trade with Honduras. Americans wouldn't notice it, but Honduras would collapse. Get ready, sweetheart. They're coming. They're coming. Your brothers are coming back to Honduras. Actually, not true, Jonathan. The United States controlled Afghanistan for 20 years until Joe Biden collapsed it. So get your facts straight. The United States controlled Afghanistan for 20 years. Anyway, the New York scumbag judge is set to issue a verdict on the 10th of January. We'll be covering that most likely. The Colombian import that somehow became a judge in America is sentencing Trump, and there won't be prison time. Well, your verdict is illegitimate, so we really don't care what you have to say. The New York scumbag judge, in a surprise move on Friday, said he would sentence Donald Trump for his hush money conviction before the president-elect begins his second term. He made clear that a prison term wasn't a possibility. Judge Goober Juan Dipshit Merchan said he would sentence Trump on January 10th, rejecting the former president's argument that the verdict couldn't remain in place after his reelection. Finding no legal impediment to sentencing and recognize that presidential immunity will likely attach once the president takes oath, it's incumbent upon this court to set the matter down for the imposition of sentence prior to 20 January, he wrote in an 18-page decision. He said he wasn't inclined to send Trump to jail and that an unconditional discharge or sentence without any punishment was the most visible solution to ensure finality and allow the defendant to pursue his appellate options. So, Juan Merchan, the scumbag who got famous. What do we got going on over in the chat here, folks? What have I missed? James Pick is here. Welcome, James. And my brain is one of the best brains, says Smoothie. Okay, modestly. After the United States destroyed Nord Stream, EU is basically screwed. No, Jonathan, the Germans destroyed Nord Stream. We didn't destroy it. Leah says, I have 7 grandkids, 2 true, 5 adopted. One is 16-year-old black girl who shares a birthday with Colonel Chris. Oh, Leah. Well, happy birthday to my cousin from another mother who is your granddaughter. Wow, that's pretty cool. But Leah, aren't you a racist? I heard all white people in South Africa are racist. Racist. That's what I heard. Of course, I don't know that Leah even is white. I presume she is. Roger Rabbit's back. When I speak leftist, she must have woken up on the wrong side of the floor. The joke is you have no brain, big brain at work again. Smoothie and Roger Rabbit are going at it. Why do people want to bicker in the chat? Come here for the content, not for the chat. That's right. Off with the head, wench. That's right. It's a Monty Python reference. Thank you for that. Before the hate wankers steal my content and clip and go, oh, look at him. He's a misogynist. No, I'm giving a Monty Python joke. All right. By the way, I was watching McMillan and Wife last night, the first episode. Oh, my gosh. 1971, that show came out with Susan St. James and, of course, Rock Hudson, unknown to be a homosexual by the general public at that time. So it was kind of ironic that he was in a romantic relationship with Susan St. James. It was kind of a plain hottie for the day. Anyway, the point of the story is that at least twice in the first episode, they were misogynist towards women. Oh, my goodness. He was talking about his wife. My wife is very observant because, you know, she had seen a murder and a body. And anyway, my wife is very observant compared to most women. The subordinate clause just undermined Rock Hudson's statement. Whew, that was one. Then there was another one that came later. I don't remember exactly what it was, but boy, the misogyny was rough. My granddaughter is 9 months. Has grown beautifully dark brown hair. Smiley face. Cool. You guys are talking about your kids and grandkids. Judge, just a left-wing political stooge. Exactly right, Hendo. Roger recycles jokes from previous streams. A glaring skill issue. Oh, you have a grandson in Costa Rica. Okay, cool. Wow. Why would the Germans destroy Nord Stream? It was their lifeblood. Because they were paid to do it by the CIA. Why would the Americans destroy it, Garrett? I mean, look, I don't have any evidence to who destroyed it. Just supposition. And neither does Jonathan. That's why I said that the Germans did it. So why would the Americans destroy it, and why would the Germans destroy it? Because they did it. It wasn't the Russians. That's for damn sure. We're racist. We race sprints and marathons. I love that show. It was a shock. Yeah, Monty Python's great. Mr. Pick or James Pick says, what's your take on the bloggers that say they never knew South Africa is so nice? They said they were told lies about Africa. I don't know what you're talking about, what blogs you're talking about, and what do you mean, who said South Africa is so nice? South Africans or South Africa? I'm sorry, James. I want to answer your question, but I don't understand it. You're going to have to give me a little more context there. They were told lies about Africa. What lies were people told about Africa? I wasn't told any lies about Africa. I just wasn't lazy, and I educated myself about Africa before I ever became an Africanist, before I ever went to Africa. So I wasn't expecting to see lions walking the streets of Johannesburg. Yeah, even if they had just been beaten by the stormers. Whoa! That was good. That was good. Because USA can sell oil and gas to you at 10 times the price. So that's nonsense, Jonathan. That's nonsense. How is it 10 times the price? Explain to me, okay? Jonathan, I'm not arguing with you, but what you're saying is nonsense. There's no data to support it. The price of oil is lower today than when the Nord Stream pipeline was blown up. Not much, but a little bit lower. So how are we making it 10 times the price? We're not. And the cost of shipping liquefied natural gas to Europe is considerable, and it cuts into the profit margins considerably of the United States gas producers. We do ship it there, but it's not the bonanza you're making it out to be. And we don't really ship oil to Europe, to my knowledge. They get plenty of oil from the North Sea, from Iran, from Iraq, from Saudi Arabia, so I'm not really sure about that. They get plenty of oil from Denmark and Norway. Yeah, although those streams are starting to die off. So, no, simply not true. We can look at the price of oil. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. I'm going to do it right now. Here you go. Come over here. Price of oil. Historic price of a barrel of oil. Let's see. Historical price of a barrel of oil. 70-year chart. Crude oil price data from December 31st. Here is Brent crude. That's we'll go with Brent instead of West Texas light crude. Brent crude is North Sea oil. All right. So let's go back 5 years. Okay, so when was Nord Stream blown up? Let me see. Make it through Nord Stream. Okay, Nord Stream was blown up in September of 2022, 26 September 2022. All right, so the price of oil in 2022. Okay, here we go. So it's pretty much the same right now, the price of oil. Here we go. We're going to do this right now. Okay, so, all right, you ready for this? You ready for this? Here we go. See, this is why I believe in data and facts, not simply supposition. So there's the price of oil going back the past 5 years. All right, currently Brent crude is trading at $73.96 a barrel. In September of 2022, there's August, there's September, hang on, that's October. So September 19th, September 26th is when, or 22nd is when the Nord Stream blew up. It briefly spiked from 78 to, wow, $91. And then it came back down. Look at that. So the price of oil today is lower than it was when the Nord Stream pipeline was blown up, and has been lower for the better part of 2 years. So that's simply not true 10 times. There's no data to support that. Now, the next thing you'd have to look at is how much natural gas does the U.S. ship to Europe, how much oil is shipped to Europe. I'm not going to get into that right now. They bought it at oil at very low prices. Well, they bought it artificially low prices, below market, which was illegal under the World Trade Organization rules. So the Germans were cheating. So if they have to pay market prices, that doesn't mean the United States is profiting from it. So anyway, and what was the price they paid per cubic meter? Leah says, yes, I'm white. I know you're white. I'm teasing. Laroto was found by me in a box on that Christmas, so I adopted her. She can't even speak a black. Wow. Found in a box. What? You found this child in a box, Leah? Oh my, I have to hear this story sometime. This is horrific. And how old was she? Was she an infant? My goodness. RS says, see that Greenland are pushing for independence from Denmark. No, they won't join the U.S. But what I'm recommending is a full-scale invasion of Greenland. We can accomplish this simply by deploying one brigade from the 82nd Airborne and one brigade from the 101st Airborne. The 101st is necessary because of its helicopters. That way, the 82nd can occupy the capital, and then the 101st can go to outlying western Greenland settlements to quickly occupy them, overthrow the indigenous forces, and claim Greenland for America. Plant our flag. It'll all be done and dust in a matter of days. Power went out 2 p.m. Only came back just, oh, Charles, there's no load shedding. Stop that. Stop that. It's a fucking goat. It's just a goat, baby. No, it's a fucking goat, mama. Anyway, it's load shedding. It's fucking load shedding. Julie Barron said we had electricity all day. All right, that's the oil. Let's keep on with the news here, folks. We got more news before I get back to production on my videos. So Joe Biden is trying to block 625 million acres from oil exploration. This demented lunatic is damaging our nation on an hourly basis. He will sign memorandums prohibiting future oil and gas leases off parts of the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the eastern Gulf of Mexico and the northern Bering Sea. Now, here's the thing. Donald Trump will arrive on January 20th. He will sign a piece of paper which will throw out all this nonsense. But why is Joe Biden doing this? So that he can claim he was the most green president. I was the most green president. Of course, he isn't long for this world. He's not going to live to be 116. Given how evil he is, the evil inside his heart is eating his heart away. He couldn't last much longer. Joe Biden will move on Monday to block all future oil and gas drilling across 625 million acres of federal waters, equivalent to nearly 1/4 of the total land surface area of the United States. 25% of our surface area he's going to block at sea. Underscores how Biden is racing to cement his idiotic legacy on the religion of climate change. Yep. 2 memorandums will prohibit future oil and gas leasing across large swaths of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Eastern Gulf and northern Bering Sea. Wow. The move could have the biggest impact in the Gulf of Mexico, which accounts for 14% of the country's crude oil production. Of course, that's even after the Deepwater Horizon blowout that took place. Electricity all day in South Africa. It's like a Christmas miracle. It is. Robert Franklin Morris is up to those. We still don't know where the ANC sold out oil reserves. Yeah, we don't know where the oil reserve went. It went to the hands of caterers. We know that. And then they were given a contract to manage it. So the oil reserves are managed by a company paid by the government when the government sold off the reserves. Criminal activity. Green around the gills, says me again. All right, continuing our stories. The New Orleans attacker had a transmitter, which he was going to use to set off those improvised explosive devices. That's pretty scary. The bomb-making materials were found at a short-term rental house, and the authorities said they had recovered a transmitter intended to set off the explosives on Bourbon Street. The man who plowed a pickup truck down a crowded New Orleans street on New Year's Day, killing 14 people, had planned to use a transmitter to detonate 2 explosives he had placed near the site of the attack. The attacker, Shamsuddin Jabbar, who authorities have said was inspired by ISIS, had placed both the devices on Bourbon Street. Neither of the devices went off. And, of course, people opened up the cooler chest and saw the device and didn't bother to tell anybody. Joe Biden announces a disgraceful abuse of a decoration, a sacred decoration. This is something presidents do, and they do some really stupid stuff. Among the people receiving this award are foreign nationals. Why we're giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to foreign nationals is beyond me. Maybe I should be given the Order of the British Empire. Keir Starmer, you listening? Order of the British Empire right here, baby, because I cleaned up all your colonial messes in Africa. So you should give me the Order of the British Empire. Call me Sir Wyatt. The recipients of our Presidential Medal of Freedom will include Bono, Irishman, actor Michael J. Fox, a Canadian, Magic Johnson, okay, and former Secretary of State Hillary Criminal Clinton. Wow. Joe Biden is giving pardons and handing out awards like bubblegum to shady characters. The nation's highest civilian honor is awarded to people who have made exemplary contributions to the prosperity, values, and security of the United States, world peace, or other significant societal, public, and private endeavors. And most of these people have never done any of that. Robert Kennedy Sr., who's been dead since he was assassinated in the 1960s, will receive the award. Mitt Romney, the rhino from Utah, will receive the award. He once was president of American Motors Corporation, a disastrous car company that fell apart. Other recipients include Bono from U2, Michael J. Fox. Conservationist Jane Goodall. That's a good move. Magic Johnson, Ralph Lauren, who's made incredible contributions. Soccer star Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi's not an American, and soccer is not an American sport. This is stupid. And scientist, false, fake news. He's not a scientist. And TV star. He's a TV star. Guy's not a scientist. Bill Nye, the science guy. Unbelievable. And left-wing donor and philanthropist, to round it all out, George Soros. Joe Biden is giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the man who turned Jews in to be murdered by Nazis in the Second World War as a teenager. That's right. That's the guy. George Soros. He gets the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Wow. Can you believe it? The evil that emanates from that White House. Unbelievable. Jane Goodall is world-renowned ethologist and conservationist whose research transformed my understanding of primates and human evolution. True. Deserves it. Soros criticized Republicans for his donations, was honored for supporting organizations and projects across the world that strengthen democracy, human rights, education, and social justice. No, those organizations undermine democracy, undermine governance, and lead to the deaths, rapes, murders of hundreds of thousands of people around the world. George Soros is a global criminal who should have been prosecuted long ago. He also nearly destroyed the entire economy of the United Kingdom by shorting the British pound back in 1992. The remaining recipients include Chef Jose Andres, former Secretary of Defense Ashton Baldwin Carter, and entrepreneur Tim Gill, civil rights leader Fannie Lou Hamer, philanthropist David Rubenstein, writer and playwright George Stevens, and Vogue magazine editor Annie Wintour. Whatever. Well, Vice President Harris will oversee the transition when she has to declare Donald Trump the victor. We're loving it. Vice President on Monday is scheduled to certify the victory of a man she repeatedly called unfit for office. Vice President cackles Harris has called President-elect Trump a threat to democracy. She said he was a fascist. She predicted he would abuse the powers of presidency. She warned he would never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. The joke's on you. She's a witch. Ban her. But on Monday, in her constitutional role as the president of the Senate, Harris will preside over a joint session of Congress that oversees the counting and certification of electoral college votes, affirming that Trump, despite the alarm she sounded during her ridiculous 107-day billion-dollar money-wasting scam, will assume powers and trappings of the presidency. It's only happened a handful of times when the sitting vice president had to certify their opponent, including Al Gore, Richard Nixon, and now Kamala Harris. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Bye, Leah. Did you see her trying to give the Pledge of Allegiance. Kamala Harris, I'll now lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the Soviet Union. I mean to the United States of America. That's not the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible with liberty. Anyway, so to the flag. To the flag. She doesn't even know. This woman was supposed to be the president of the United States, and she doesn't know the Pledge of Allegiance. She doesn't know the pledge. She's just a vapid, brainless twit who is promoted based on her skin pigmentation and her genitalia. That's all she brings to the table, and her rampant racial hatred. That's what Kamala Harris brings to the table. Joy. What? For people like OnlyFans? Give me a break. Give me a break. The United States Capitol is ready with heightened threat environment. There's no heightened threat environment, and leftists are going crazy. Law enforcement and security agencies in and around Washington are bringing in reinforcements as they prepare to secure the 3 high-profile events in the nation's capital. The first event will occur on Monday when Congress meets to certify the results. On January 6th, the second will be the state funeral for late President Carter on Tuesday, which wraps up on Thursday, and the last one will be on the 20th when the president's inaugurated. This has never happened before. We have 3 national special security events over a 15-day period, said Matt McCool, Secret Service, Washington Field Office Special Agent in charge. But I'll tell you, we're flexible. We're adaptable. We've been working these events in some cases for years, so we're prepared. So we're going to be prepared. But you're not. You've already nearly let the president be assassinated twice. He was shot in the head once because you're incompetence. We have no confidence whatsoever that you will be prepared. The only reason there won't be anything happening is because no one has any ill intent on those days. Yep. After fierce lobbying, the Biden regime is handing out tax money, tax incentives, to the fake green hydrogen economy. Lucrative tax credit, the Biden regime is hoping to establish a new industry that might help fight climate change. The Biden regime on Friday made its final long-awaited plan to offer billions of dollars in tax credits to companies that make hydrogen in hopes of building up a new industry that might help fight climate change. Now, when you burn hydrogen, most of what comes out of it is water vapor. So it's not really a bad thing. But the problem is that in order to make that hydrogen, they use natural gas and they break it down. And they use carbon-emitting fossil fuels to convert natural gas, a fossil fuel, into hydrogen. And so there's no net gain. It's stupid. This is what Namibia is doing. It makes no sense. So they call the so-called green hydrogen, which means using renewable source of energy. Of course, if you're using solar photovoltaic, the amount of carbon produced to make the resources to convert sunlight into energy, to break the hydrogen into its constituent parts, to produce water vapor and an energy source, is false because of the carbon that created the solar panels in the first place. Unbelievable. Stupid. Net neutrality is gone, struck from the rolls once again. This fantasy of leftists to undermine access to the internet, to regulate it like a utility, was struck down. It was imposed by the Obama regime, struck down by Trump, reimposed by the corrupt Biden regime. And once again, now the courts have said enough. This has been settled. You have no authority to regulate the internet like a public utility. We are not South Africa. You are not going to control our internet. Shut up. That's up to the tech companies to censor us, not the government. Well, some things about the New Orleans attacker that spread pretty quickly here. That's correct. Water vapor is the most abundant greenhouse gas. You're correct about that. Would be instead to see the carbon footprint to produce hydrogen. What's this? Went back to hit the like button and lost Bill Nye. He's an atheist, fake scam scientist. Yep, he is. He's not a scientist. What happened to the concept of cold fusion? Oh, Charles, do you believe in that cold fusion mumbo jumbo? Sorry, folks, I got a frog stuck there. It just won't come out. Cold fusion, people are still trying it, but it's gone nowhere. Drain the ocean, says Tony. Well, the New Orleans attacker, fake rumors spread pretty quickly. One of them came up, one of my viewers saw it and posted it in here and said, hey, this guy apparently slipped across the border a couple days ago. And I questioned that immediately with good reason. And I think that spread very quickly because of the guy's name. People assumed that he was an illegal immigrant when he's actually born in America. I didn't fall into that trap, thankfully, but we're all susceptible to that nonsense, especially in a breaking story. New Orleans attacker, how false claims about the suspect spread. A Fox News report fueled the spread of misinformation online, including a claim the suspect was an illegal alien. Shamsuddin Jabbar, the 42-year-old scumbag in the New Year's Day attack, was a U.S. citizen and an Army veteran. But within hours of the attack, which killed 15 people, no, it killed 14 and he was killed, is being investigated as an act of terrorism, President-elect Trump, Republican leaders, and social media speculated that he entered the U.S. illegally. Citing Fox News social media accounts on January 1st, Jabbar crossed the U.S. border at the Eagle Pass crossing just 2 days ago, and that there was blood on the hands of the Biden administration. Well, Trump didn't say that. He said there was blood on the hands of the Biden administration, but he didn't say anything about Jabbar. Marjorie Taylor Greene fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Here's her post on Twitter. New Orleans terrorist attacker is said to have come across the border at Eagle Pass 2 days ago. Shut the border down. Why did our government bomb lately that was taking it out on innocent Americans? Well, that did not happen. Did not happen. So she fell for it. Donald Trump Jr. said that Biden's parting gift to the U.S. was migrant terrorists. Yep. Now that is misleading by Don Jr. Yep. Yep. So Trump said on Truth Social that criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our own country. That's true. That has nothing to do with Jabbar. So this is a misleading report and fake news by Al Jazeera in that respect. Yeah, so there you have it. So you got to be careful in rushing to judgment on these things. The soldier in the Tesla blast apparently had post-traumatic stress disorder, according to the Army, and was fearful of the United States collapse. Police shared notes from a phone used by Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger, who fatally shot himself inside a Cybertruck. So he shot himself and then blew the car up. That's pretty impressive. Must have been a dead man kill switch. The Green Beret, who blew up a Tesla Cybertruck outside the Trump International Hotel this week in Las Vegas and took his own life, had written that he wanted to send a wake-up call to the country. In notes recovered by investigators from his phones, he praised President Trump and wrote that our soldiers are done fighting wars without end states or clear objectives. He said this was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Wow. That's still terrorism. Whether he wants to call it terrorism or not, it's still terrorism. Yep. New York City's idiotic congestion plan, which is supposed to reduce traffic into central Manhattan, will not reduce traffic. It will simply impoverish people who have to work in the city. This is dumb beyond belief. The controversial, much debated plan will charge drivers who enter lower Manhattan a daily toll. $9, I think it is. $9. Congestion pricing. It's a policy of charging a standard $9 fare to drivers of cars, SUVs, small vans, and pickup trucks entering Manhattan below 60th Street from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekdays and from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekends. Wow. Originally, they were going to charge $15. Takes effect in January. These scumbags, what's the goal? They want to reduce congestion. It will not reduce congestion. It will not reduce congestion. It will simply steal money from people's pockets. This is nonsense. This is a leftist money grab. Well, Donald Trump is doing well. He's apparently got $200 million in donations since he won the election. Wow. While Kamala Harris can't pay her $20 million bill for celebrities after burning through $1 billion, Trump is getting money. He's boasted about the donations for his inauguration, his library, and political activities from those seeking favor or perhaps in some cases atonement. Yep. Wow. The total haul for the committee financing inaugural festivities, at least $150 million, with more expected, will eclipse the record-setting $107 million he raised for his 2017 inauguration. So Trump holds a record. Biden didn't eclipse it, and now he's going to eclipse it. Wow. Well, folks, some good news for me personally. Some veterans will receive an additional 12 months of educational benefits. Grad school, here I come. PhD, you can call me Dr. Wyatt. Yeah. So veterans who serve 2 or more separate periods of military service will be eligible for up to 12 months of additional education benefits under new plans unveiled by the Veterans Administration on Friday. Yesterday. The announcement made by VA Secretary Dennis McDonough during remarks to the Student Veterans American National Convention in Colorado comes in the wake of a Supreme Court ruling last April, which found the department unfairly limited access to college tuition benefits in certain cases. More than 1 million veterans are nationwide could be eligible, maybe up to 2 million. Yep. To qualify, veterans must have served in at least 2 separate periods of service in the military, each meeting standards for either the post-9/11 GI Bill or Montgomery GI Bill program. I entered the Army in 1983, and I had VEAP, Veterans Educational Assistance Program. Therefore, I didn't get the Montgomery GI Bill. I didn't decline it. You have to be eligible and not decline it. So that makes me eligible there. I served in another tour of duty after leaving the Army. I came back in the military, and I was in the military during the post 9/11 period, and I qualify for that generous program too, which I've never turned down. So hoo-ha! Yeah. Yeah, the post 9/11 GI Bill is very generous, awarding full tuition costs for state universities, plus housing stipends and other educational assistance programs for individuals who served 3 years in active duty after September 21st. Partial benefits are available for anyone who served for at least 90 days. Veterans cannot access both benefits simultaneously and have been required to give up eligibility for one program to access the other. But the Supreme Court in Rudisill versus McDonough ruled that the requirement is unfair for individuals who had enough time in service to qualify for both programs. Yes! I'm going back to college. I'm going back to college. Yes. Well, the first major snowfall, we had snow yesterday, but it melted most of it. The ground's still covered, but the road surface and sidewalks are clear. We will get our first major snowfall here in short order. It's been a wild 24 hours in the weather model since they updated us. We've gone from having a nice consensus to stark disagreements. Over 24 hours, expect a consensus to be reached in a dramatic fashion. First call snowfall forecast from Monday's winter storm in Pennsylvania. Here are different models they're looking at. The American, the Canadian, the European, and the short range model. Who are the short range folks? So here you go. Here's what we're going to see snowfall across the Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. In the A-band, that's heavy snowfall, and that's just below where I'm at. I'm like right on the top of that red line. I mean, that I couldn't be any closer. So I could get 6 to 10 inches. In B, it's supposed to be 3 to 6. So I'm going to get anywhere from 3 to 10 inches of snow. Coming up on Monday. Get ready for that, folks. Central Pennsylvania, get ready. Snow is coming. I hear those sleigh bells ringing and jing, jing, jing-a-ling-ling. People, so South Africans and Irish and Brits don't feel they're alone in facing crime. I've been calling out cases of crime that I've been finding here in Pennsylvania, in Harrisburg, in Carlisle, and all around. Here's one in nearby Dillsburg in which a porch pirate was caught stealing. This has become a rash of issues in central Pennsylvania and probably around the country as people are stealing boxes and deliveries off of people's porches. Dillsburg porch pirate caught and charged with theft. Look at this scumbag. A Dillsburg man has been arrested after an investigation into packages stolen from a residence in Cumberland County, which is not in Dillsburg. That's a different county. Kevin Pfeiffer, 37, was arrested Tuesday on charges of unlawful taking. Unlawful taking. It's not theft. Police said on Monday officials were investigating a case where packages reported stolen from a porch in Upper Allen Township. Following the investigation, he was identified as a suspect. Officers conducted a traffic stop on his vehicle where he was taken into custody. He waits preliminary hearing scheduled for February 6th. Well, there you go. Scumbag thieves. Exposing them. SpaceX having another launch January 10th. Starship will launch out of Texas for the 7th time soon. They announced a slate of upgrades for its next Starship launch. As SpaceX prepares for possible January 10th launch of its Starship rocket, Elon Musk company says it's made special improvements in time for the 7th flight out of South Texas. The upcoming test flight will launch a new generation ship with significant upgrades, attempt Starship's first payload, deployment test, fly multiple reentry experiments geared towards ship catch and reuse, and launch and return the Super Heavy booster, according to a blog post yesterday. Well, good luck to SpaceX on that, and to everybody out there on this new day in the new year of 2025. Good to see you all there. Next, kaboom. Yeah, looking forward to that. Porch pirates have stolen $12 to $13 billion worth of packages, says Tony. Is that in Canada or in the U.S.? Wow. Love the exploding parcels. Same here in the UK. Porch thieves, usually Amazon delivers. Exactly right. How good is Howard Lutnick? You talking about the guy from, what's the company there? It's the company that survived 9/11. Is that who we're talking about? Tesla Cybertruck still burning. Nope. Perihelion. Are we now? Can't see, it's daytime. Robert Franklin Moore says, apply now, Chris. Heard Apple CEO is donating $1 million to Trump's inauguration. Wow. The National Security Agency should have picked up on the radicalization of New Orleans driver. No, Charles. No. Okay, let me be very clear about this, okay? See, this is because, this is people outside the United States and even Americans don't understand how it works. The National Security Agency cannot spy on Americans. It's illegal. It's a felony. I know. I spent a lot of time ensuring we didn't do that when I worked at the National Security Agency. If we wind up spying on a foreign national abroad who engages in communication with an American citizen, when we identify that, we have to mask the identity of the American. We can still continue to track the communications of the known threat from abroad when they're talking to an American or writing an email or texting an American or doing video calls with an American. We can, and listening to phone calls, we can do all that. But we must hide the identity of the American unless and until that person is identified as someone that's engaged in something. At that point, that person's identity is turned over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But we cannot specifically target Americans, the National Security Agency. The FBI can, once they're a suspect and there's a warrant issued for surveillance. But no, there's no way that the National Security Agency could have known about this guy. He's an American citizen, and it would be illegal for the National Security Agency to spy on his communications. That said, there have been frequent violations of the Patriot Act. Abuses of it, yep. Light Rain says they allow a reporter and crew to walk through the attacker's home 24 hours at the event, bizarre and stage, contaminate crime scene, I have no idea. Well, Light Rain, did you watch my video? Only 300 people watched it. Why did the FBI and the New Orleans Police Department clear the scene of a crime, a homicide, a multiple homicide of 14 people dead, spread out over hundreds of meters on Bourbon Street? Why did they clear that crime scene in 23 hours? And now they're letting reporters walk through the guy's residence? Seriously? We weren't even allowed on the steps of the Capitol building for a year after January 6th, while they covered that up and lied about the so-called insurrection. For a year, we couldn't walk on. Last time I was there, you couldn't even go to the steps. They were blocked. Over a year after it. But they let reporters wander through the guy's house. They released the crime scene 23 hours after the attack. This is a major cover-up. This is a major cover-up. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Apparently, the DNA of the Trump victim doesn't match that with the ID name. Trump victim? You mean the soldier? Fox News yesterday were talking about how Brandon was going on about white supremacist group being the biggest threat. And oh, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. You talk about the Arab name, sounds more to be Ramsu Din Jabbar. Yeah, it sounds more British than American. None of us got any treatment. Simply put on your big boy pants and carry on. Yeah, that's true for veterans of South African Defense Force. We're treated very shabbily. And if you want true reconciliation and unity in South Africa, then the government of the ANC should come out publicly and say that the errors of the past, the discrimination against SADF veterans was inappropriate, and they are recognized as veterans and are eligible for benefits and start paying them. Yep. No, the astronauts are still stranded, Brian. They're still up there, man. FBI days are coming to an end. Yes, Tony, I don't disagree with you. Kash Patel may be the man who oversees the vivisection, the disembowelment of the FBI. Yeah, no, the astronauts, God bless it. Astronauts are still in space. By the way, I don't know if I'm just checking something here real quick. Let me see if we got any more support on the subscriber base. Anybody gain? Come on, YouTube. God, this is so fast. I mean, you need, we gain a few more subscribers. That's cool. This morning's video is up to 5,000. That's cool. And yesterday's is 7,000. Not quite the 30,000 we got in the previous ones, at 40,000, but hey, we'll take it. 5,211 subscribers for Is It Racist? That's my most recent one. And then the South African Human Rights Commission jumps into the Nobbs and Kesey story. Let's take a look at what that one is now. 7,500, still going slowly, 14 subscribers, cool. So those aren't big successes, but they're successes, especially these days. Savage Daughter, yes, Chris Ehlers was in the border war. Yep. Oh, there it is, right there. Cuito Cunavale, 1986-87. Do I have The War for Africa up here? By Fred Bridgeland. I have the book. I'm wondering if I have it on my shelf here. I do not see it. I had it up here at one point. I was looking at it. Anyway, yeah. Cuito Cunavale. Yep. Anyway. Edging towards 21,000 subscribers. I wish we were hedging towards 210,000 subscribers, and that would be really cool. We'd be making some coin off the channel. That'd be pretty interesting. And then I would already have booked my flight to South Africa. So I can attend the car show in George on the 8th of February. Yep. '87, '88. That was a crazy time. '87, '88, I was in Germany and then went back to university. So I was at university when that battle was taking place, studying about Southern Africa and Angola. And Cuito Cunavale. Yep, all of that stuff. Yep. Crazy time, folks. Anyway, so where are we at here, folks? 87 people here. Some people we got 100 likes. Come on, man! I have to work so hard to get those likes.
That was easy.
Apparently, it's not. It's hard to hit that button. It's not easy. It's not as easy as it should be. By the way, yeah, never mind. That's not important. We'll just phone is charged. Get in the habit of recharging my phone every day when I do this broadcast. But I will be producing a video on Elon Musk and Starlink coming to South Africa. So you can watch that. That'll be published and hopefully up within an hour. Eric remembers as a child seeing South African soldiers standing by the road and thumbing for a lift. Yeah, you could do it back then. It was still safe. Light Rain says, I saw you cover the nasty cleanup of New Orleans attack, but I don't understand the psychology behind it. What does the FBI want to accomplish? The minds public? I don't know, Light Rain. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. But I mean, I don't know what's going on in Butler. I don't know what's going on at the Florida golf course. I mean, oh my gosh, basic security measures that a freaking rookie could handle, and it wasn't done. How was the perimeter not walked in advance of the president being there and then walked and patrolled while he was there? Stupid, beyond belief. And the only reason the president didn't die is because a civilian bystander called it in. Yep, called it in. Otherwise, he could have been killed. This is the incompetence of the Secret Service, the organization and in part responsible for what's going on January 20th, January 6th. Yep, and then the Carter funeral. And we're supposed to trust them? Spare me. Spare me. Unbelievable. So from George, tip Renault, then go to North. Well, Ronaldo is not near George, man. That's a long trip. That's a long trip from George to PE. I know, because I did it with Rob Hutchison. He drove and I filmed. I wish I'd filmed more, but I got some video from that. The FBI and local authorities are trying to assure people that it's still safe for Mardi Gras. Yeah, exactly. All lies. Yep, it is all lies. Exactly right. Oh, you're supposed to pick up SADF soldiers. Yeah, okay, well, it was a different time, a different era. Yeah, supposed to give them a ride. Anyway, that's not the world we live in these days. It's just not the world we live in. 98 likes now. I got 5 more by pimping for the likes. I haven't pimped for any super chats. So I got to get some super chat e-begging going on here. Anyway, yeah. So people were good to us troopies back then. I never waited longer than 5 minutes for a ride to or from my army base. That's awesome. That's awesome, Smee. Yeah, I never hitchhiked as a soldier. My first basic training, they take you where you need to go or you march there. AIT, you get a ride to where you're going or you march there. And then my first assignment was in Germany, and I was on a small concern. And no one didn't need a ride because you could walk into town or whatever. That was it. What's going on here? I got some crap on my freaking computer. Okay, I got to change keyboards again, go back to the old one. It's called the Ride Safe sign. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, didn't know that was what it was called. Interesting to hear that. Thank you for sharing that, guys. Anyway, yeah, so, we got to 100 likes. Cool. Palabora to Pretoria, it's far. That's a long way, yes. That's a long. Malicious incompetence is indistinguishable from outright malevolence. Yeah, no, I think you're right about that, Light Rain. This is one reason why the FBI is going to be disemboweled. Savage Daughter said, I mentioned before, in 1989, I lost my older brother, her hero. He was shot 3 times through the stomach, flew him to Petersburg Hospital. 7th South African Infantry drove us up. Wow. Wow. I've never been the same again. We'll not talk about it. Oh, he's never been the same. Yeah, gotcha. Tony said, watch a video, read a really long reply, comment, then delete all, only posted for a sentence. You'll know which one I commented on. Okay, thanks for that, Tony. Wilma is very late. She'll catch up. Well, you are a very tardy young lady, and we're going to censor you for that. Not. Not going to happen. Anyway, folks, I need to get busy fixing that video and getting it up on Elon Musk so we get some views tonight so that we can maintain the momentum. I asked this of you, 100 people, 90 people currently here. If that'll give me 90 more views on some of these. If you haven't watched some of my recent videos, when we're done here in a few moments, please just go queue them up, click on a video. You only have to watch for a short time, a minute or so, and then go to the next one. Watch as many as you can that you haven't watched recently. Help keep us over 20,000 views for today, because I don't know if we're going to make it. I'm not talking about racism, and that seems to be what's driving the views. I hitched 1,000 kilometers through South Africa in the 80s, says Savage Daughter. Wow. Yep. That's all. I got to see a lot of the country doing my Army years. Yeah, so did I, Charles. Got to see a lot of the world. I've been to 78 or 80 countries now. Anyway, all right, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a lovely day. Sun is shining here. By the way, before we go, let me check my solar. Because yesterday was it snowed. It was kind of icky and not much in the way of solar generation. But today, the sun is back out. It's probably melting the snow, too, to be honest, even though it's below freezing. Come on. And so I'm already at 5 kilowatt hours. Yesterday I had 4.82 for the whole day. So already surpassed that. And for the month, fourth day of the month at 36 kilowatt hours. So not great, but a start to 20. And it's currently generating 5.5 kilowatt hours. That's pretty impressive. So, yep. All right. What have I got missing here? Just checking my messages. All right. That's it. Catch you later. That will serve from 75 to 89. That's a long time, man. And that's a critical time. That's Mozambique and Angola and Southwest Africa, all of that stuff going on, plus the Special Forces operations in Botswana, in Tanzania, in Zambia, and elsewhere. All right. Haman's call to Cape Town. Wow. That's a long way. All right. God bless, folks. We'll catch you later. Cheers. Thanks for being here.